So this might be unrequired, unneeded, or nobody gives a fuck. However, I want to talk about one of my favorite classes in Dungeons and Dragons. Yo, Shay. Now, the monk is a class that needs a lot of help. Because right now, um, if you're going to play the monk, there are honestly three good subclasses that are actually viable, period. As far as I'm concerned. Again, remember, this is my opinion. Take it with a grain of salt. But as a person who loves the monk class and I wanted to do well, I really wanted to help this class out and do it, and do it some justice that it requires. So, um, so the three subclasses I personally think have the most viability are the Way of the Open Palm or Open Hand, I believe it's called. Um, the Way of Shadow. All right, cool, cool, cool. The Way of Shadow and the Way of Mercy. And I'm not gonna lie, Mercy seems like the best subclass at the moment right now. Even though Shadow has been dominating for so long, the Way of Mercy actually is quite good. Like I'm a big fan of it. So much so that I played it in one of Conrad, like my buddy Conrad. He ran like a little one-shot side campaign for Descent into Avernus, and I played a Way of the Mercy Harangon monk, and it felt good. Like I was doing good damage. I felt good, but that's also because so the issue with the monk as it stands is it's your damage dice. All right. Now Tasha's fixed something in it. They give you the option called dedicated weapon. It's an optional feature you can add to your class, which then allows you to choose even a martial weapon to make it your primary weapon. It becomes a monk weapon. So let I've already gone through the monk class with Conrad on our intelligence check podcast. However, I want to explain equipment wise. So monks can use short swords or any simple weapon. Those are your weapon options, unless you choose to play a Kensei monk. But Kensei monk is kind of garbage because you don't get access to heavy weapons. Why would you do that? May as well use the dedicated weapon feature, which is here it is, dedicated weapon. So weapon must be simple or martial, must be proficient with it, and it must lack the heavy and special properties. So you would honestly want to get your hands on like a whip or perhaps a scimitar. What was it called? The double blade scimitar, I believe it's called. Like that thing would be cool as hell. But it can't have special properties and it can't be heavy. So pole arms are out of the question, even though a lot of monk, like remember, monk class is based on like martial arts. So if you look at all the Shaolin or any kung fu movie, you see they have staves, they've got spears, they've got halberds that they can use with amazing proficiency. So it's kind of garbage. So with a dedicated weapon, the best weapon you can wield is a longsword. So you're doing almost like a Wu Tang style sword type build. So the sword, one handed, is a D8 in terms of damage. But being that you would have a shield, you have a free hand, two hand that shit. You do 1d10. Now, monks have their attack and their bonus attack at the beginning. And then at level 5, you get your extra attack plus your bonus attack plus your flurry of blows, which you can also add more attack, one more extra attack to it. However, it feels like, let's say I don't want to use a weapon. What am I stuck with? Like, I want to be Bruce Lee. I want to fucking punch somebody in the fucking face. I want to punch and kick him. Until I hit level 5, I'm doing 1d4 of damage plus my dexterity modifier. Same damage as a dagger. While like a fighter or a barbarian level 1 Let's say it's a barbarian, has a great axe, 1d12 plus your strength modifier. They are already doing nearly, let's do the math here, 3 times my damage, most likely, on average. Because with a d4, you're averaging about 3 plus your dex modifier, whatever it might be. So with a d4, you're averaging 3 damage per hit. While a d12, you're averaging about 6 or 7 per hit. So they're already doing double your damage in one strike. It feels kind of bad. Like early game monks, hot garbage. Late game monks, hot garbage. From level 5 to like 9, you're decent. But that's where mid game is where you thrive. Beyond that, you are a waste of space. You just become a stun machine because of stunning strike. So I decided to do a sort of rework to the base class itself. So first off, this is what I went with. So essentially, I've upped the dice. You start at a d6, which is basically the same damage as a short sword. Unless you want to go for a staff, like a quarter staff, which is then 1d8. Should you want to do that? If you want to be a staff wielder, go for it. But if you want to be just pure punch damage, 1d6. Because see, after a point, like let's come back to the base class again. Like that's like if you're gonna use the base class rules, that sword's gonna last you until level 7. Like you'll lose that the entire time because it's just 1d10, which is what a longsword does for you. But I don't. I'd rather use this personally for myself. So first off, you start at 1d6 going all the way to a d12. Because as you gain experience, your fists are becoming stronger. You are able to hit harder. That should be the thing, because you're going through growth as a physical character. You're growing and becoming stronger as you're in fights and going through experiences. So as you are using your fists and your legs, even your whole body, you should be getting stronger right at the gate. So 1d6 right at the gate for you. And as you the progression is pretty much the same in terms of the base class, like how the damage increases per level. So at level 5 you hit 1d8. At level 11 you hit 1d10. And then when you hit level 17 you have 1d12. But the difference with a monk is what makes it more fun to play is the fact that you can make 4 attacks per turn. That is more than any other class in the game. Like a level 11 fighter can match that, but they're doing significantly more damage because they've got long swords. So they're hitting that, plus they have action swords, so they can even go fucking 4, like 8 attacks per turn. I wanted the monk to feel viable. So one of the huge issues that monks have currently is like the barbarian, the acronym is MAD, which sounds terrible, but essentially what it means is multi-ability dependent. Same thing with barbarians. Barbarians need a good constitution, a good dexterity score, and a good strength score. Because strength is what you're going to do your damage with. Your dexterity and your constitution, their modifiers together, put together, are what give you your armor class. For the monk, it's dex, constitution, and wisdom. If you're going to be a frontline or monk, you need a good health amount. You need a good health. You need a good amount of health. So you need a decent, excuse me, you need a decent constitution. However, all your saving throws, depending on which subclass you choose, is based off your wisdom modifier, and dexterity is how you fight. That's where your damage comes in. So already you're like, if you roll really badly for stats, or if you use a standard array, or if you use, let's say, point by, or whatever it is, whatever process you want to determine your stats by, you're gonna have to sacrifice a lot of other stuff. And the weird thing is, monks get saving throw proficiencies in strength when they should be getting it in wisdom. Like wisdom should be your proficiency because you are of sound mind and calmness. Strength makes fuck all for sense because you never build strength. Like a strength monk You can do it, but why would you? Personally, again, that's my personal opinion. Another thing that happens here is the key point system. Now, key points, you gain 2 at level 2 and then 1 point as you level up. So by the time you hit level 20, you have 20 key points. I'm not gonna lie to you, once you hit like level 10, you're not gonna be using your key points a whole lot. You'll probably use max maybe 5. Unless you're going crazy and just stunning everything. But that's the problem. Not enough key points, generally speaking. In the early levels, I can do flurry of blows twice in one fight, and I am out of key points. So what I'm good at is suddenly gone. Like even though I get it back on a short rest, like let's say we're in a very dangerous dungeon. Or whatever. Not dangerous per se, but at least it's a constant dungeon crawl. There's no chance to take a rest. I blow my load in one fight. That sounds terrible, but I blow my load in one fight. Then what? I need a short rest to be effective again. I can't do it. Which is hot garbage. It feels bad. So instead, what I decided was you will gain double your level in key points. So if I'm level 2, I get 4 key points. At level 3, I get 6 key points, and so on and so forth. Now, so by the end of level 20, you have 40 key points. Now, the reason why I did it like this, however, is not because, like, one, you don't want to blow your whole load, because then it feels bad. You feel like the monk is so weak, you're going to feel even weaker. So I wanted to give the monk more options and more opportunities to do more stuff. So you get double the key points per level. So when you hit level 10, you have 20 key points. Now the other reason why I also decided to up the whole key point number is also because of Flurry of Blows, which is one of the most amazing features the monk has. This is what lets them do 4 attacks per turn, which is more than anyone has in the early game. Like at level 5, fighters, paladins, and barbarians can make 2 attacks per turn. Or should they wish to, if their weapons allows it, or they have a secondary weapon, they can make a bonus attack with another weapon. But the monk can hit a person 4 times per round, which is pretty good. But at a 1d6 per hit, this is not really great. It's not really great. And of course, to make that 4th attack, you have to consume ki. So one of the few things that I did for Flurry of Blows is you will do attack. Look, let's assume you're level 5. You have 10 key points. You're doing 1d8 of martial arts die. First attack 1d8. Second extra attack 1d8. Bonus attack 1d8. Spend 1 key point. Flurry of Blows. You get 1 more attack. Now, I will, in my rework, I am allowing people to use 4 more key points for 4 more attacks to a max of 5. So essentially, I can make 8 attacks in a turn. Not 8. 8 attacks in a turn, should I wish to. Which feels good, because you want to be that flurry, you want to get up close and personal, and that flurry of that Ip Man kind of fighting style. You're just pummeling into people. At the same time, at level 5, you want to use Stunning Strike, which again costs you a key point to use. And you can use a key point on every single attack to attempt to stun the person. So it gives you opportunity and choice. It gives you more options within the fight. Do I want to spend 5 key points in one turn and just beat the shit out of someone for 8 attacks? Hit or miss. It's up to you. And then on top of that, you can spend another key point to stun the motherfucker. You might stun him on the first hit. Then all the rest of your hits are at advantage, and you're just beating the shit out of a dude. It feels good. You want to be that fast, like it fits the image of every kung fu movie, be it Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan, Donnie Young, Tony Jaa, all of them. It fits that whole style of just getting in there and just laying down the hurt on somebody. And that should be what the monk is all about. You want to hit and you want to hurt. So so this is basically the rework I did. Like most of the features stay the same. The only things I've changed are your martial arts dice and your key points. And the fact that flurry of blows your flurry of blows can go up to 5, maximum of 5. I may or may not change that depending on how it feels. But that's essentially what it is. It's like I think I don't want to use the great stuff or a quarter stuff. I don't want to use the sword. I want to kick and punch my way through. I want to be a flurry of body parts, beat the shit out of somebody. That's the fantasy that I have when I play a martial arts character in any game. Like there was this there is this really shitty MMO called Nine Dragons. It's still alive, right? It's free to play. It's available on Steam. You play in medieval China, where there are different clans, but they all use martial arts. Their own martial arts, of course. You've got the Wu Tang Clan, nothing to do with the rap group, but they call the Wu Tang Clan. They are sword masters, and they use Tai Chi as their martial art. You've got the Shaolin, you've got the Sacred Flower, you've got the Heavenly Demon, you've got the Brotherhood of Beggars. Sorry, the Brotherhood of Beggars, and the Brotherhood of Thieves, I believe they're called. By the way, they all have their own unique martial arts style. So if I was going to use an example, Wu Tang and Shaolin would be the best um, combination for the monk. Now the Shaolin class, the Shaolin faction, I guess, within that class, their warriors use pole arms, and they're freaking halberds. Halberds are awesome. Long staff with a blade at the end, or if you prefer, a naginata, essentially. So that's the whole idea, and that's what makes the monks so cool to watch, because they could see them just use their stuff in amazing different ways. It's like hit, and then bonus action unarmed strike, sweep the leg. I should probably make that another feature as well. I should add, but yeah, you can knock them down and then just wail on them with your other leg. Just kick them while they're down. It's that whole you want to create that fantasy of that movement, like you're like be like water, as Bruce Lee says. That was the whole idea of why I wanted this to be so much more impressive, so much more interesting. So immediately double key points, up the dice up by 1, going all the way to D12, which is the max in terms of damage you can do. So at level 17, you are able to output a lot more hits. You're pretty much matching the barbarian for damage, or the two-handed great sword wielding fighter or paladin. So that's the main idea. So make sure that um, you're able to output as much damage. You feel relevant. So coming back to the other issue with the monk, like I mentioned before about the fact that you're mad, multi-ability dependent. You need a good con score, you need a good wisdom score, you need a good dexterity score. Now, most of the times, most monks, like again, when it comes down to stat rolls, like say if you're going to use our method, which is like for me, Conrad, and my DM Steve, we use roll method, which is 44, 46, drop the lowest. And our ruling is you need to have a minimum of 215s in anything, minimum 215s, which is fantastic, which gives you an opportunity to make something that you might actually want. You can specialize. Now, here comes a problem in terms of being multi-ability dependent, because you want a good con score, because you want a good amount of health to survive hits. You want a good dexterity score because that's how you hit people, and you want a good wisdom score because any of your any saving throws that you force upon your enemy, be it stunning strikes or whatever, It's all based off on wisdom. And you should have wisdom saving throws as your proficiency, not strength saving throws. Fuck that. That's dumb. Monks need love. Wizard, do something about this, man. So yeah, come back to this whole situation again. Like, so yeah, so here immediately a wisdom modifier also determines your armor class, because monks don't wear armor. We have unarmored defense, just like the barbarian. But for us, it's 10 plus your dex plus your wisdom modifier. So if you have a +5 dex and a +5 wisdom, you have a 20 AC, which you can then further boost up by using braces of defense, which gives you AC a +2. So you have 22 AC, which makes you even harder to hit. And if you're super lucky with your stat rolls, like most people are going to be putting up their wisdom and the dex, their constitution might suffer. So it's always that toss up. It's very difficult to make a monk work because they're meant to be a melee class. The only way you can sacrifice constitution is if you decide to go a Kensei monk and decide to use a longbow. Oh. So yeah, all of that. So essentially, yeah. So well, I apologize. Four viable classes. The Ascendant Dragon Monk is also very, very good because they reintroduced metallic and gemstone dragons, which is awesome. So yeah. Anyway, but yeah. Otherwise, features will all remain the same. Now let's talk about unequivocally, indubitably, as they say, the worst monk class in the game. Way of the Four Elements. It's so bad. This is it. This is the information about the Way of the Four Elements monk. Okay, so instead of just give them spell slots, make them half casters. So essentially, the idea of the Four Elements monk is, I mean, to keep in mind. Actually, when did Fifth Edition come out? Hold on. Fifth Edition came out in 2014. Okay. Right. Okay. So Fifth Edition came out after Avatar: The Last Airbender. So the Way of the Four Elements monk essentially was supposed to be you are the Avatar. That's basically what they were going for, which is hot garbage. The way they've done it is hot garbage. And I'm trying to figure out a way to make the Way of the Four Elements monk kind of cool and fun to play. Because right now, in terms of what you can do, it's like what? Like, I don't even understand what the fuck this is. Like, what? Like, what's. Okay, so elemental discipline. So, what is this? Right, so you pick a discipline. And of course, these are all done in alphabetical order as opposed to level order, so it's a pain in the ass to look at. That's another issue with fucking Eldritch Invocations. You can't tell what levels you're supposed to be. So at level 1, I have whatever, like level 3 when you get it. I have Sweeping Cinder Strike. Or I have Rush of Gales. Gust of what? What else do we have? What else can we play at level 1? Fist of Unbroken Air. Like, this is interesting. So you are the Airbender. It's like I'd rather you choose an element. Pick one of the four: water, fire, earth, or air. Pick one of those. So at level three, you choose one discipline. So by the time you hit late game, you have access to all four elements. So let's see. You know, different thing at sixth, 11th. So yeah. So let's say I'm going to start with fire. At sixth level, I will learn water. At 11th level, I will learn air. And then finally, 7th level, I will learn earth. Whatever I didn't say. So depending on which class you decide to start at. So let me look at another half caster and see. Let's look at Paladin 5e. Let's look at what their breakdown for their spell slots are. So where's the spell casting table? Right, here we go. Same thing. Just do it this way. So you start with 3 spell slots of first level, and so on and so forth. The same table. Put it for the monk. So if I start, so let's say I start with fire as my first discipline. I have access to first level's fire spells and cantrips. I should already use a cantrip as well. Give me fireball. So if I'm far away, I can run up close distance with firebolts, and then I can just kick their ass normally. Or let's say I choose earth first. Magic stone. I can just fling a rock at superpower strength and knock it into somebody as I'm walking at them. Or let's say I'm going water. Frostbolt. I'm throwing frost sickles at people as I'm running up. That's kind of fun. That's kind of cool. It gives you that image of. I mean, I'm like right now. I'm just talking about this at the moment. I'm gonna put this down into a document at some point because last thing you guys want to see is me typing shit. I'd rather just talk about this for the moment as my dinner gets cold. I should probably eat this, right? Um. So essentially, it's kind of like that. Like, let them have access to cantrips. Or let's say no, fuck it. We'll keep the same. We'll keep the same um, table. So 3 to start, then 4, and so on and so forth. So by the time level 20, you have four first levels, 3 second levels, 3 third levels, 3 fourth levels, and 2 fifth levels. So maximum fifth levels you're casting. That's as high as you go. That's as good as you get, which is enough because you are not there to outclass anybody. You're there to be viable at all levels of play. That's the whole idea. I hope you guys don't mind if I stuff my face while I talk about all this. Let's say it's air. What is a damaging cantrip that has air magic in it? Let's see. Air magic 5e. Oh, that's useless to me. Uh what's the second edition? Is there no way to find air spells? Wait, let's see. 5e tools. Spells. Uh Air? Will that work out? Hmm. Let's go cantrip. Let's look at cantrips. That's terrible. Actually, what the hell does air get? Like, is there any air magic cantrip at all? Shocking grasp. Air, lightning. Actually, no, fire and lightning. That's much more avatar. Never mind. Shape water. No, no good. Air. Hmm. That's a good point. Gust does what? Does Gust do anything? Hmm. Well, that's strange. I could have sworn we had an air option, but apparently not. But like an air magic doesn't do damage. Air magic is defensive. So should you want to start as a airbender, you can. I guess thunderclap's an option. It's like a sound effect, do damage as your thunderclap, and like other casters, your cantrips level up with you, so they become your bread and butter. Let's go with that. I guess thunderclap might be a good idea potentially. It's fun. You can use shocking grasp also. Technically, lightning damage is air, but if you're gonna go with the fantasy of Avatar: The Last Airbender, you can always use shocking grasp as part of your fire technique. Maybe toss up. Like when it comes to earth magic, like you say, let's say you're an earthbender, you can mold though doesn't do damage unfortunately, but it's useful. I was gonna say magic stone because that's always fun to just fling a rock at somebody, stuff like that. It's one of those things you got to figure out what's gonna work. But let's forget all about all of that. Let's look at level one spells you'll have access to. Assuming you're a fire, you're gonna go the fire way. Burning hands is an obvious choice because you're gonna get up in personal, you're gonna get up in melee, step up, 15-foot cone of just flames, and they gotta make dexterity saving throws against your spell save DC, your spell save DC, which in this case will be 8 plus your wisdom modifier plus your proficiency bonus. So if you got a good wisdom, chances are you're burning motherfuckers, or at least they're taking half damage. What else do we have from first levels that could be good for fire? Uh, Not a whole lot else actually for fire in terms of level ones, right? I mean, Stirring Smite's an option, but then Stirring Smite requires you to have a weapon. Up to your DM. If your DM is okay with your fists being weapons, then go for it. Nothing else for fire, right? Yeah, that's pretty much all the fire that we have. So, Burning Hands. You have Firebolt as your cantrip, and Burning Hands as your first level spell, and potentially Stirring Smite. They do fire damage. Let's say you choose to go water. You want to be a water monk first. So you'll have Frostbolt, I believe it's called, right? No, Frostbite, is that what it is? Yeah, Frostbite. Sure. as you're trying to fuck with them, as you're walking up to them. Sorry, Ray of Frost. That's the one. Ray of Frost. It's like poo, 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 poo. You're throwing out frost bolts. And then for your first level options as a water monk, you can go with, let's see, what could be interesting here. In fact, water magic in at least in water bending, sorry, in Avatar seems to be more healing. It's healing and defensive more than offensive power. So this one could actually be cure wounds. You can heal people. Or we can go with what else is there? Ice knife is an option. Not a great spell, but it's there. Unfortunately, there's not a whole lot of water magic per se. Like ice knife is your best option, and I guess yeah, be the healing class. You get cure wounds as an option to heal. Like I will also say this. So the other idea is like if you want to upcast something, you can spend a key point to upcast it, or at least key points equal to the level. Like so, let's say I want to cast cure wounds at level 2, but I don't have level 2 slots. I can spend 2 key points and upcast cure wounds. That's not bad actually. Or I can upcast burning hands to do even more damage. Ideas as we go along. Let's say we start with Earth as our choice. So I already said we have Magic Stone as your cantrip, and then for your first level, you can do, let's see, Earth Tremor. You create difficult terrain and cause them to take damage. Potentially even Entangle. Well, Entangle uses um, vines and shit like that. You can use the earth to grab them, to snare them in the ground. There's an option. Let's see if we go air magic. Let's see if we go air monk. Would have been airbender. You get to pick up, let's see, what could be good actually? You can get shield of air to block stuff. You can do thunder wave. What else can we do? Potentially. You get magic missile if you want it. So there are ways to do this. So let's say we hit level 5. We access the second level spells. We go to second levels. If you're going fire, Dragon's Breath, Flame Blade. A lot of options. It's so good. Water gets less restoration. Earth gets Maximilian's Earthen Grasp. What else can we have? Rhymes Binding Ice. What is FTD? Yeah, Rhymes Binding Ice. Water. You're a water monk. Rhymes Binding Ice. It's already great. It's so good. It's so cool. Because like the only difference is, oh Jesus Christ, they call lightning for fire monks, I guess. You get fireball. Call lightning. Call lightning can work for both fire monks and for um, air monks. It's one of those. It's great. Give them spell slots. And if they want to upcast something, they can either use a high spell slot, or if they don't have a spell slot, they can use their key points, which means my increased number of key points that you have access to will help that even more. You can replace any of your attacks. I should say your action and your extra attack. You can replace them with spells. While your flurry of blows and your key block and your extra attack, your bonus attack will be melee. But essentially, you are weaving the elements throughout your fight. Level 6, pick your second thing you're going to be. Let's say you start fire, you want to go water after that. So, level 6, you pick a water cantrip and you pick a first level water spell. And so on and so forth. It's so good. It's so cool. So I can go firebolt, ray of frost, run up to them, bonus attack, punch them, or run up, burning hands, or ice knife and then burning hands. They get knocked prone, they are disadvantaged on dexterity saving throws. Boom, flame them and then just beat the shit out of them. There is an issue with balance there, so that's going that's going to come into discussion. I believe there has to be a discussion regarding that in terms of can they do two spells in one turn, which technically nobody else can do except for so maybe one cantrip and one spell, kind of like the sorcerers. You start with the cantrip, go with a spell after that. So it could be fun. It's good. It's interesting. So I'm gonna stuff my face. So I think that'll be the good way to do it. Personally, again, I'm 100% open to ideas, but one of these days I will sit down and go through ways of making this more viable and more fun to play. Because who doesn't want to become the avatar? Seriously. Being able to channel all the elements, that's pretty fucking cool. And I just want to rant about that. I want to talk about that in ways I would try to fix what is arguably the weakest class in 5e at the moment. Like, without question. The monk is the worst class, even though it is one of the classes with one of the most amount of flavor in it. Just more key points to use, more features you can use. Like right now, I've broken it down to the fact that when you hit certain levels, your flurry blows goes up by 1. So at level 3, when you get flurry blows the first time, sorry, level 2, right, level 2. So like I mentioned before, you can use up to 5 key points to make 5 attacks post your attack, extra attack, and your bonus attack. You can make 5 more after that. But if you want to balance that further, at level 6, you can make 2 attacks as your bonus action, as part of your bonus action. Level 10, you get to add 3. At level 14, 4. And then finally at level 18, 5. So if you want to balance it that way, you can do that as well. So your flurry of blows goes up as you level up. You can make more attacks per turn. This, like the fact that you gain more attacks per as you level up, might be a little bit more balanced, potentially, especially as you're upping the dice and using, like spells and stuff like that. So that might make more sense as it stands. But I want the monk to be good. I want it to be good. It's one of my favorite classes. I love it. I love kung fu. I love martial arts. They're fucking cool. So yeah, that's my rant. That's my idea. Like I mean, the idea is to give that sense of growth and development, which currently the monk is lacking significantly. Like monks are first of all ability score dependent, extremely feat dependent. Like for a monk to be super effective, you want sentinel, or you want mobile, or mage slayer, stuff like that. It's a class that needs a lot of help to be effective. You need good ability scores. You need a good amount of feats. Like if your ability scores are trash at fourth level and then eighth level and then 12th, 16th, and 19th, you're going to be spending a lot of time, a lot of your ability score improvements to increase your ability scores to be viable. When I'd rather you have a good, I don't know, man. It's tough. It's tough to balance it and make it viable. I mean, what do you guys think? Like I said, I've got the monk rework right here. For those of you interested in reading it further, I can send it to you, and you can use it in your games. Tell me how you think it feels. Either give them five extra attacks at the end of their turn for key points. You can spend the key points for it, or do it the way this says so, and they gain two attacks for one key point, which is more balanced. They spend more key points per hit, or one key point gives them two attacks as they level up. That's pretty much all I wanted. Basically, I wanted to do this video, or rather this stream, or whatever the fuck, as my wait for my dinner. As my dinner came, it's right here, and I still want to talk about this. And I want to make this better. I want it to be fun. I want this class to be good. I want it so badly to be good because it's so cool. So, oh, I'm a terrible person for doing this. I know watching people eat on stream is not very interesting. Right, but you can improve it. Right? I see things like I think I'm improving it, but it comes down to balance, right? That's one of the main issues. It's like how do you balance this? How does this what will this push the monk over the edge, or will it bring it in line? That's the main issue. Sometimes I don't want to see someone stuff their face because I mean some people are messy eaters and that's very not words unappealing. It's very unappealing to watch them eat because they are just it's like friggin' monsters. But yeah, so it'll come down to testing, of course. Like again, if you want to use this in your games, feel free to do so. It's available for anybody who wants it. I'm not claiming copyright or the fuck. This is for everyone to use. I want this to be used. I want it to be tested. I want to know what people think of all of this. If you have all these key points, you have increased damage dice. I want to sit down and do like an in-depth like um deep dive on this and try to see. Let me tell you, manners is required. So I think it's one of those things that you're going to eat nicely. You don't want to eat like a fucking animal. Unless people are into that. Ah, fuck it, who cares? But yeah, no, I'll definitely sit down and look through um if there are ways I can improve this thing to make it more viable. Because right now this is just terrible. Just give them spell slots. And if they want to, so they recover spell slots um on a long rest like all casters, like all half casters, or they can use key points to regain those spell slots. Like I'll say, let's say you want to recover a level 2 spell slot, you got to spend 4 key points to get it back. So double the cost, because key points come back on a short rest. So you have to spend double the key points to regain half the spell slot. So if I want a level 1 spell slot, got to spend 2 key points. If I want a second level spell slot, got to spend 4 key points, and so on and so forth. Up to 5th level, which is much later in the game. Much later in the game. Like, probably a part of the game you'll never get to. But 10 key points to regain a 5th level spell slot. Should you wish to do that. So there's a bit of macro play, a bit of micro play. Weighing out the options. So yeah. Will I post this on YouTube? I don't know. It's not a very professional video. I might do it though. Because I want ideas. I want people to hit me with stuff. I'm like, okay, how do we make this good? How do we do it? How do you make it viable? These are the kind of things I want to know. Because when you get we get access to third level spells, don't you want to pull in Azula and just shoot a lightning bolt at somebody? How cool would that be? You the whole and then lightning out. How badass would that be in the middle of a fight? If you want to upcast it to 4th level, 8 key points. So it gives you. Oh my god! I got so many ideas. I got to sit down one day and just make a chart. What do you say? Like something like this basically. For the spell usages, depending on which monk you choose to start as, what spells you get access to, plus your regular monk features as well. Yes, ideas. So on and so forth. But yeah, anyway, thank you guys all so much for watching. I'm going to finish my dinner and then I'll be back then. So, from me to you guys, till next time, peace out.